Exotic pet story. Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to go over some things. We're going to get to the exotic pet store in a minute, but I wanted to talk about my day and how it gets hijacked from time to time. So this morning I woke up and our business email was down. We had done some server work the other day and everything was fine. I wake up this morning and I got no email coming in. So if you're a business owner and you don't have any email coming in, it is a terrible feeling. Okay? And so I got that put together and back up and running around 10, but from like 6 in the morning to 10, I got nothing. So if anybody emailed me then, I'm toast. And then I went about my day. I was doing a bunch of stuff like show prep, things of this nature. And, you think, as what should a real estate agent be doing? Well, they should be looking for people that are buying or selling homes, and they should be, doing deals. And I agree with that. But what the reality is you get stuck in these odd situations all the time. And so let me just tell you what happened to me today. Sitting at my office doing my stuff, and a woman calls, and she's out of breath, and she said, are you listing the house on such and such street? And I said, yes. It's sold. She said, or it's under contract. She said, well, I've lost my cat. My cat has gone missing, and I think that the cat might be in the house. And I was like, I hope it's not in the house. But what I'll do is I will as soon as I get done with what I'm doing, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go and we're going to go look and see what's going on in this house. And so I forgot. And then about half hour later, I was like, okay, I remember now I need to go to this house. So I get in the car, and this should take about 15 minutes. And I just want you to know, so, when you're dealing with a real estate agent and they say, well, what are you going to do for your commission on the sales side? Well, one of those is if I'm listing a house and the sellers are not living close, say they're an hour away, then I take care of the house during the listing. So I make sure the lights are on or off, make sure that the house doesn't get torn up. After listings for the day, I'll clean everything, make sure it all looks nice for showings the next day. I basically treat the house as if I own it. And I mean, that's just one of the things that I do because I want the house to sell and I want it to look the best it can all the time. And I know that the sellers are, they're not close. They can't really do what you need to do. So anyway, I got in the car, and then I run into construction, and right by the construction is also a train that has a big old long train that's going through. So now I've got this train. I'm sitting there waiting. About 10 minutes later, it seems. Train goes away. And so then I'm driving down the road, and a person just pulls out right in front of me. Just right in front of me. No reason for it whatsoever, and I'm bewildered by this, but I keep driving. And I get to the neighborhood entrance. And so in this particular neighborhood entrance, I don't know if you're familiar with elementary school parents who are excited about their children being in school. Well, in this particular case, they line up on the side of the street in their cars. And then there's a whole thing. The principal will call the student's name, I guess, over a loudspeaker because I can hear it. And then they scoot up in the street. They're on the side, but they're on the shoulder, and there's like 100 cars. And so to get in this neighborhood, I have to turn into the neighborhood. But these parents they're not going to let me through because they're so excited about their picking up their child. And I mean, I get it, but it's not the world I'm in right now. I've got to get to the Ethel the cat. It might be in this house, and we don't know. We can't get there because you're excited about your kid. Anyway, so I finally make the turn in, okay? And I don't have the supra with me because I don't leave a supra on a house that's under contract because I don't want people going in the house. It's pretty obvious to me. So But they do. It's really weird. That's why I always pull it. But anyway, get the key off the side. Go in the house. Look around. There's no cat. Nobody's been in the house since like this weekend. But there's a flyer in the door, and the flyer is the lost cat. So I lock the house up. I call the lady. And while I'm doing this, I'm just hoping that there's enough time that's passed so I don't have to deal with the parents and the kids getting in their cars, because it's a madhouse. So I call the owner of the lost cat, and I said, I just went through the house. There's no cat. And she said, well, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. Are you sure that the cat's not in the house? It could be hiding. Yes, I'm sure, because the house is empty. There's there's nothing in the house. There's no furniture in the house. And I've looked through everywhere. There's no cat. And I know that she just wanted to be hopeful. But anyway, so I looked at no cat. I said, thanks. She said, thanks. Now, is that going to lead to more business on the road? No. This woman just wants to know about her cat. She doesn't care. She just believed that maybe the cat would be in the house. So I'm trying to do it because I feel bad for people when they lose their animals and stuff like that. So then I go to pull out of the subdivision, and the parents are still there, and they're not even letting me out of the subdivision to get anywhere. They're just literally pulling right in front of me. Like, I got my blinker on, they won't let me out. When I finally do get somebody to stop, a parent to stop, there's so much traffic that I can't see people coming, so I have to basically make a blind turn. And so luckily there was a postal van, and he slowed down. I was like, thank God, I got crushed. So it took an hour and a half. My 15-minute cat thing took an hour and a half. So that was my day. Wanted to go over an article for you, and this blew my mind. So I thought it might be cool for you too. So here we go. You ready? So it says, I'm just devastated. The owner of an African pet must give up pet after escape. And so it says right here, it's out of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It says, servals, often mistaken for cheetahs or leopards, are illegal to own as pets in Georgia. And so it turns out this lady had moved from South Carolina, where the servals are legal, to Atlanta to go to school. And the cat, the serval, and she brought the cat because she was having a bad day, she broke up or had a relationship issue. So anyway, the serval normally stays with her parents in South Carolina, but apparently the serval got out, and then it said, this is the quote, this is the neighbor. I just heard this thump in my bed, and I felt something land in my bed. I opened up my eyes, and there was this cat in my bed staring at me, and I just kind of screamed to my husband that that's not a normal house cat. She initially assumed it was a bobcat. So, can you imagine? You're sitting there and minding your own business, sleeping, and all of a sudden there's a serval in your bed, and that would be really, really freaky. Now, I have thoughts and I have questions, and I wanted to go over it, but I did at the bottom of the article, it says, what is a serval? They're a wild cat native to African savannas. They're often mistaken for leopards or cheetahs. They typically weigh around 30 pounds and can run up to 50 miles an hour, that's pretty cool. So I have thoughts, I have questions, and kind of wanted to go over them with you, see what you thought. So here we go. Number one, can you imagine being in your bed and the next minute there's a 30-pound, not a cat, but a serval looking at you? That's what I'm saying. So, you're in your neighborhood, and I guarantee you're not thinking about that. So, number two, exotic pet laws around the country are not making a lot of sense to me. A serval is legal in South Carolina, but not in Atlanta. And what is this about? So, we all have different laws in different states, but I don't understand, like, the serval exception. Like, who in South Carolina said it was okay to have a serval, and then who in Georgia said it's not okay to have a serval? Like, what? Where? Like, should there be, like, should we have legal consistency for pets? This is a question. I don't know. Exotic pets. And so In this case, this Nala is apparently the name of the serval. It's a domesticated animal in this situation. It's been declawed. And they're going to try and send it to the Department of Natural Resources wants to send it to a sanctuary rather than somewhere where the owner thinks it will live a better life, which would be her parents' house in South Carolina. And that's the thing that gets me is like, it's a domesticated animal at this point. You're going to send it to a sanctuary where there's other servals, I guess. I mean, is there a serval farm or I don't know, but it just seems like this is wrong. Another question I had was, are exotic pets worth the trouble at the end of the day? It just seems like there's snakes and, the python that was in the toilet. There was the monkey that got loose twice and bit somebody. And I'm not against exotic animals. I mean, I don't think they're the only ones that escape. Ethel the cat this afternoon in Afton, she escaped. She was, looks a little pudgy, but she's definitely not an exotic animal. But anyway, and then, I just feel bad for the owner, the neighbor, and everyone involved in this situation. It seems like a no-win for anyone. Maybe the population, because the declawed serval is no longer menacing neighborhoods, but really, and that's kind of where I'm at is like, everyone here is following the rules in the sense that once the serval was, that obviously weren't following the rules when the serval was released or escaped because the serval wasn't really supposed to be in the state in the first place. But then the Department of Natural Resources is just going along its specified route. So we got an exotic pet. We need to take it to a wildlife reserve, which is way better than Gobble the turkey, who was murdered in our episode 2, or something like that. But, isn't there some sort of exception that can be made for this particular serval? Maybe it goes back to the parents' house. And you say, well, that's this person's fault and everybody. But is there a way we can do this without, with the least amount of harm to everyone? So that's all I got for you. I think that if you're an exotic pet owner, what I've learned is, hey, you might want to check the laws in the state that you move to if you're planning on moving. So if this is from a real estate agent's perspective. So if somebody calls me and says, hey, John, I've got a longer than 12-foot boa constrictor and we're going to move to St. Louis. Will you help me find a house? Well, then I think it's my job as a real estate agent to say, hey, at least ask, do you know if these things are legal in St. Louis? Because I don't want you to lose your animal if somebody finds out about it. Like that's something you should probably think of before you move your animal. I don't know. What do you think? I'm blown away by this. There's so many news articles about these exotic pets. It seems like everyone has one, but I know that it's not true. I know that not it's not nearly as many as I think there are. So anyway, that's all I had for you today. Hope you enjoyed watching. Hope you enjoyed listening, and I will catch you on the next one.